Hi guys, welcome to the Rule of Two, where the Star Wars news saga continues. I'm Manny.
I'm Terrence.
And what we got today is pure spoilers for Rogue One.
Yeah.
And I cannot freaking wait. If you guys want to see a spoiler-free review, please turn it off and go into, turn off this video and go to Terrence's spoiler-free review on our site right now. It's absolutely amazing. He does a really good job on it, so check that out. But for those of you that have seen it, let's talk. All right. Rogue One. All right. Now, this episode, we're actually going to borrow from another show that we have, a little show that we have called You Don't Hate This Movie.
Just a little thing. I don't know if you've ever heard about it.
I don't know if you've ever seen it, but you know. So we're actually going to try to break this down in 5 different categories. The plot, the acting, the directing, the action sequences, and the characters. Okay. This movie was just amazing, and this is because we were hyped up for this movie so much. That is why we're actually doing this kind of format for it. Now, we're not going to defend it or anything. We're just going to break it down that way. Right. So, Terrence, give us the plot of Rogue One.
And I said this in my non-spoiler review. The plot of this movie was the scroll from episode 2.
Yeah. So if you want,
if you want to know what happened in this movie, watch the scroll. Look, it's on screen now. So that's just going up. That's the plot of this movie.
Yeah. It's actually a word scroll. The movie.
Basically, they steal the Death Star plans. It talks about how they got to episode 4. How we started off episode 4 with Leia trying to get these Death Star plans to the rebellion. We figure out in this movie, we get to see what transpired to get up to getting them to Leia.
Yeah, and then also going back to the creator of the Death Star itself, how it ties to the to its destruction, to its eventual destruction, and but
anyway, if you haven't seen episode 4, that was a spoiler for you.
It was absolutely an amazing movie. I thought the plot was great for it to be a spin-off, standalone, and you know what? And it would actually be a disservice to the movie to call it a spin-off. I would just flat out call it just what it is, and that's a Star Wars story, a standalone film.
Did you call it episode 3.5?
3.5, very good. I would call it 3.5. Absolutely, because it pretty much ties in Sith and New Hope perfectly. Yeah. Now, granted, you still have some time that has passed between, but regardless, because they were still building the Death Star at the end. So that means that Galen Erso was actually on there when
when they were doing that
at the end of Sith when they're doing this.
When they were doing that particular scene, did you know that
Tarkin's in there?
Yeah, I didn't realize that was Tarkin.
Yeah, I was Tarkin on the side.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a little while. But the movie was great. I thought the execution was great on it, and we'll get into directing in a minute.
So for the overall plot,
that was awesome. I thought it was a really smart move to go that route.
It was a great move to go that route, and for I still kind of want to see them do a sequel so I can find out the Bothans, who are these Bothans that we always talk about. So when they do,
maybe that's in the Han Solo.
All right, can we get an episode 4.5?
That right before Empire?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or maybe a 5.5.
What did you think about the no crawl?
I actually, and what's funny too, because we talked about it on our last Rule of Two, and I said, they're gonna come up with, obviously if they're gonna just scrub the no crawl, they probably got something better in mind that they want to do, and then they did nothing.
Well, they did
absolutely.
They actually, if you really think about it, I
didn't even get the whole pan up that they are the pan up and the pan down that they normally did with the Star Destroyer at the beginning of all the episodes, or at least the original trilogy. They kept doing
but they did do that.
I don't think they did.
No, they did do that.
They just started on the planet.
No, they went up. And then you see, I guess it's Krennic's ship going to the planet. Mm-hmm. So that was it. But when I saw it, it reminded me of Avengers because they set up the prologue, and then they gave you the title, and then it's 15 years later. Yeah. So it didn't make that much of a difference to me, to be honest with you. If you're a hardcore fan, we are hardcore fans.
I got over it.
Yeah, exactly. I got over it. But I would have really liked for it to have at least the music.
I would have just preferred they had done something
But
different.
what word crawl could you do if the word crawl for the movie isn't 4?
You know, yeah, basically, if you've already seen episode Revenge of the Sith, episode 3, right before episode 4's word crawl, this happens.
Yeah. Or they
They could have explained the whole why Galen was on the planet.
no, it says before episode 4 A New Hope, and then the crawl from episode 4.
They could have had both crawls right here on screen, and then they just could have put like a little thing and like separated them, and then like threw something in there. But no, they could have explained why Galen was on the planet, because they didn't do a lot of explaining. I mean, they did it in dialogue, but they didn't explain like, you know, what really. They could have gave a little, you know, Galen Erso, you know, one of the chief designers of the Death Star, has decided to defect from the Empire, and is now went in hiding on, you know, this Tatooine looking planet with the setting suns and stuff like that. They could have explained that, so at least it gave us a little bit more setup to what we were looking at. We had to get it in dialogue as it happened, which was fine. I was okay with it because I got it, but they could have done a crawl with that. I'm not mad the crawl was gone. I was just disappointed they didn't do anything that was going to be better. And it was like maybe they could set up something better going on for all their films, all these standalone movies. But I think that was the only thing I got over it.
The reason why I like the crawl also is because it gives you a chance to listen to the freaking beauty of John Williams' score. So you know, without that, you don't get the music. So you get. You know, a new type of opening and then new music, which the new composer did a very good job.
And plus, they paid John Williams a lot for that music, so they got to get they got to get it in as many times as they.
but do you know what I'm saying? I mean, you don't get a chance to really get hyped up. I mean, I was in that auditorium when Force Awakens premiered, and when that boom Star Wars hit.
Yeah.
And the crawl, man, we had people clapping, and I mean, they were all hyped up for it. So it would have been nice to see that, but I recognize that it's a standalone. They want to get away from the canon, which it's canon, but whatever. They want to get away from that saga, that story.
And also do not confuse people.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Right. So you got a lot of nods to the original, but it gives you a fresh story, and that's why I liked about it so much, is that it was a fresh story. And even though you do have some familiar characters, it doesn't necessarily revolve around the Skywalker lineage. So it's really great to have a fresh story, a fresh take, and what else is going on in the galaxy.
Yeah, because we have to assume, like, it's in this plot, we really get the fact that, like, there are more people to the rebellion than just, you know, Leia, Han, Luke, and the droids. There are more people to this rebellion, and, you know, Admiral Akbar.
his fat brother.
Yeah, there's more people to this rebellion, and in this movie, and the plot of this basically shows us what everybody else does to help this rebellion succeed.
Exactly.
All right, so I mean, I love the plot. I thought it was great. I thought it was a great idea, and that's what got me in the theater to go see this movie.
The acting in this movie for a Star Wars film was very good.
Yeah,
I thought it was really good. I think that it was smart to have
for a Star Wars film.
Well, you
was
gotta remember. No, it's not a slight at all. But what I'm saying is that you go look at the original trilogy, but you know, and I hate to say that, but if you look at the original trilogy, I mean, these guys were young and they didn't know, you know, I mean, freaking Harrison Ford was a damn carpenter. he wasn't a freaking flat out badass actor he is now.
You ever see the screen test for him? When he wasn't even supposed to be Han Solo, when he was helping other people screen test for Han Solo, he knew the line. It's like he had said the lines for these particular scenes that Han Solo was in so many different times that he knew the script backwards and forwards. So he had already injected his own personality into Han. So I mean, if anybody was prepared for this, the only part in the original trilogy was
Guinness.
No, Mark Hamill, I was going to say.
As far as acting?
Yeah, Mark Hamill, because people talk about how whiny he was and how nasally he was.
Well, you forget who his dad was.
Well, that too. But this one, we get a bunch of new. I mean, we got some established actors, but we got a bunch of new actors we hadn't seen before that doesn't come up. I mean, we got a better start with them than we got with the original trilogy. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, yes, and also when you look at at A New Hope, you know, Peter Cushing was established. James Earl Jones was established, but he was more voice. Right. And then Alec Guinness was already an Oscar winner, I believe, for The Bridge on River Kwai. I think that's what he won for. But anyway, so he had that. In this one, you have an Oscar nominee with Felicity Jones. I think she was nominated for Theory of Everything. Okay. And then you have Oscar winner Forrest Whitaker. So you already have established actors like that too. Right. And you know, Diego Luna was actually pretty good.
Well, I did. I liked him as Cassian.
Latin Han Solo, Juan Solo.
Wait, we finally got somebody Hispanic in the Star Wars universe.
We got Juan Solo.
That's Juan Solo.
Juan Solo, baby. Anyway, so he did.
He was Juan Solo. Oh my God.
The acting was great on that. The standout for me was Donnie Yen. I thought his acting in it was great, and his martial arts, as always. And if you guys have not seen any of the Ip Man movies, y'all are doing a disservice to yourself. Go back and check those movies out.
It's funny that you say. Yeah. It's funny that you give him the standout for acting. I'm
not done. Yeah,
I was
him
say,
and the droid.
Exactly, K2SO.
K2SO, yeah. Alan Tudyk, who is no stranger to this kind of motion capture. He actually played motion capture for the robot in the main robot in iRobot with Will Smith.
That's why the voice sounded familiar.
That was him, and also you can better see him and better picture him as Pirate Steve from Dodgeball. Garr!
That's awesome.
And of course, he was in Transformers, your favorite, Transformers Dark of the Moon, as Schultz. But he's
congratulations,
great,
You've just been rescued.
Great actor, great actor. He was absolutely a standout. He was the smart ass C-3PO. He was great.
I was like, oh, now they didn't even need to give me a C-3PO cameo after they did such a good job with K2SO.
Yeah, and it sucks that, well, we'll get to that later. But anyway, the acting on it, his voice work was great. Everybody, as far as acting purposes, acting wise, were really good.
Yeah.
There is a spot, and I was gonna save it for characters.
Okay.
But I have to say this.
But does it deal with acting?
In a way, I guess. Voice acting.
Okay.
The don't choke on your aspirations.
I hated that line.
Is this Darth Kruger? I hated that. I couldn't stand it, dude.
I hated that line.
Is not a Vader. That's not a Vader line.
Okay, so because this is acting. All right. When we first heard James Earl Jones doing Vader again, did you think Vader or did you think James Earl Jones?
A little bit of both.
I felt old James Earl Jones. I didn't feel Vader anymore. I felt James Earl Jones in a recording booth reading Vader lines.
A little bit of both. It was,
and I was like, dude, I thought there was no emotion in this.
I thought the red eyes, his eyes being red, because that red tint.
They went back to the original, with the red lenses.
Yeah, so that was, I thought that was awesome. Man, I don't want to give too much. Well, the back to tank.
Stick on acting.
Okay, so I'll stick on acting. But anyway, I love the back to tank. That was pretty cool.
Stick on acting.
But I'll stick on acting. All right. Anyway, so that line, the delivery of the line, really the line itself, really kind of upset me a little bit.
I hated that line.
I thought it was very like villainy humor.
Much.
There is nothing about Vader that's humorous. Nothing at all about Vader is humorous.
They need to throw a pun in there. They really need to do that.
So that I did not care for on that. I thought the I don't want to say the Peter Cushing thing, but I don't want to do that to a character, so I'm gonna wait on that one.
Right.
But overall, I thought the acting was great.
I was a little disappointed with James Earl Jones as Vader because I really just got James Earl Jones. I didn't get Vader. I think that when he did Vader before, that he was a little bit more into the role. I think it was kind of like, oh, I'm gonna play Vader again. Great. And he's got in the booth.
That's an easy check.
Yeah, he just got in the booth and was like, what was he? It's funny because I'm gonna make a Simpsons reference, but in Simpsons they would show Krusty the Clown, and he would do voiceover work.
All right, you Poindexters, let's get this right. 1. Hey, kids, I'm talking Krusty. 2. Hey, here comes Sideshow Mel. Again, here comes Sideshow Mel. 3. Bada bing, bada boom, I'm done. Learn from a professional, kid.
Okay, Krusty, we are ready to roll. What?
And I was like, dude, you didn't try at all. You just came in, read his lines, and walked out. And I felt like James Earl Jones just kind of came in, read his lines, and just dipped out. Like, all right, cool, I'm out. Send me my check.
And but I think that it was a wise choice in getting Felicity Jones to be the main character. I thought she was really great in it. The trend is really continuing as far as getting these actresses to be in these high profile roles,
right.
Like Jennifer Lawrence and like Daisy Ridley, who was virtually an unknown,
Right.
and now Felicity Jones, who is the highest paid cast member of everybody, which is awesome considering
it was her movie.
considering the amount of the topic as far as equal pay amongst
Right.
actors. So that was really great to see. But she earned every damn penny
she
of
should
it.
be, 'cause
It was
it's her
freaking
movie.
it was freaking awesome. Yeah, but Daisy Ridley, that's her movie, and she wasn't paid the highest.
But
So
then,
yeah.
okay, so look at the Cavs versus there. It was like they had Harrison Ford, they had Carrie Fisher. They still kind of had that in this too, but there were other bigger name actors in the movie versus what was in this. Everything was either unknown or very lesser known.
You know what? Don't choke on your aspirations. All right. Anyway, so
Worst Star Wars line. No. Okay, because the worst Star Wars line is, "I hate sand. It gets in everywhere." That's the worst.
that's awful.
Or is it and it was like, "I want to go to Tashi Station." Mark Hamill.
Okay. Anyway,
What was the worst one? I think it was the aspirations one.
it was the aspirations one. How about the? How about the all of the lines in Attack of the Clones? Every single line in that whole movie.
I like Attack of the Clones.
All right. Anyway, so the acting was great, and overall, I loved the acting.
Minor grudges with it, but acting was great.
All right, directing. Gareth Edwards, who just recently had a couple years ago, who had did the 2014 version of Godzilla, was given this
Where he hit
effort,
Godzilla the whole movie.
which it was Muto because Godzilla don't come out in it. Featuring Godzilla. Muto featuring Godzilla. Special appearance. And that's
Special appearance of Mothra.
and, yeah, and that was kind of like I was hoping that I wouldn't get with this movie where the action is and it cuts off. It's black. It goes to something else, or the freaking split screen or the fade screen, whatever it comes out. But we didn't get this movie. He delivered pretty much everything on it, with the exception of the Vader line and the cuts. The cuts from the trailer, because you look at the trailer and there's a lot of scenes in the trailer that do not come up in the movie. One of my favorite scenes that I was actually looking forward to because I wanted to know who the hell was in the TIE fighter.
They said they only did that for the trailer.
Yeah, but that's bullcrap.
That was
man.
never supposed to be in the movie. They only did that for the trailer. And we just got through talking about on our show about them making trailers just to get butts and seats.
Yeah, but it's booty, man, because they need to stop doing that. One of my favorite scenes in Force Awakens was the Apocalypse Now type of feel that the TIE fighters over the sunset and all that. That was one of my favorite scenes that was in the trailer. No, we got it. We got that one.
Wait.
I'm talking about Force Awakens.
Okay, Force Awakens.
And for this one, I was really looking forward to the TIE fighter coming up. Who the hell's in that TIE fighter, and is that how she dies?
That would have made that scene so much more tense.
Absolutely.
It was like, how can she do it with the TIE fighter right there?
Exactly. That, or how... Because when you look at her going that way, like she's looking and it's there. I thought that.
Now I'm like, what was she looking at? She was looking at the tower.
It would have been even more climactic had she died there for that, and it'd have been Vader or whatever, right? And that just did not happen. The talking between Krennic and Vader,
the run across
the bum rush.
Yeah,
that didn't happen.
No, when they had the run where she was carrying the data pack,
in the beach.
like that didn't happen
either. But I'm talking about the bum rush because they slowed his pace down in the movie when Vader's approaching Krennic.
Yes, I thought it was like, because that was the whole thing in the trailer. It's like he looked like he was walking with purpose. Yeah, like he's coming in, that's your ass, and then he just kind of like just strolled in there and didn't
don't choke.
Don't choke on your aspirations. Oh God. But so they did a lot of things, and because there's a lot. I think they said like the 20 different shots from the trailers that is missing from the movie. Yeah, they did a lot for these trailers to just kind of build their hype that they had no intent to put in this movie.
And it's unfortunate.
But then they did do reshoots though.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. They did do the reshoots on this movie. Now, whether or not it was because it was too dark and they wanted to lighten it up, okay, fine.
This was a perfect opportunity to go dark.
We saw it. Well, it was dark and gritty. Regardless,
no, it was dark and gritty, but they could have went as dark as Gareth Edwards wanted to make it. And then, like I said, if it doesn't work, and I said this in my non-spoiler review, look, a standalone is just for that simple fact. We don't have to make it work for the rest of the universe. It's one shot. You get
if they're gonna die anyway. Because everything's gonna be over and that's it.
If it doesn't work, you just say, okay, that doesn't work. We won't do that again. You let it be. You don't have to kind of like appeal to everybody just to make sure that they come back and see a sequel. This one wasn't getting a sequel. Right. They had already said that.
Right. So just leave it all in the ring. Just leave it all in the ring. Leave it all in the ring and just go with it. And that's unfortunately one of the things that I did not like about it. There was so much that he could have done that he actually did do, just didn't put it in the movie. And that's unfortunate. Gareth Edwards did a great job. He is a good director.
I think he did a good job.
He did do a good job regardless with, I'm pretty sure, well, I don't know. Do you think Disney was in his ear?
I think Disney was there. That's why we had all the reshoots.
Well,
They said it was too dark and we needed to lighten this up a little bit. Maybe that's why K2SO got a little bit more levity. Maybe that's why Donnie Yen's, we got to see a lot more. A lot of times Donnie Yen doesn't get to, especially if it's not an Asian film, he really doesn't get to speak much. It's more along the like, go do your BA, your badass fucking, I'm sorry, do your fight scene, and then you're done for the movie.
And yeah, and you know what?
And like he actually got to talk, he got some dialogue, and I was surprised.
And he got humorous. He was humorous too. He was very humorous.
I was really surprised at all the dialogue he got. I was like, Donnie Yen doesn't normally get this much dialogue.
Right. So Gareth Edwards, directed him pretty well, and the martial arts sequences were amazing. And I'm glad that he actually integrated that in this because it's the first time we've ever had a martial artist in the Star Wars canon. So it's pretty freaking sweet.
Darth Maul.
Not Donnie Yen style though. That was all the Darth Maul. Yes. Okay. Yeah. No, you're right. No, you're right. But I'm talking about like Donnie Yen compared to Ray Park. I mean, come on.
Or we could talk about the guys from the raid that had that crappy scene in Force Awakens on the ship on the Millennium Falcon.
Well, I don't know. We had a weird ass creature that freaking reads your thoughts on freaking with Force Awakens.
Yeah, but no, like they were legit martial artists, and it was like they didn't even get a martial arts scene.
Which brings me to my point, which pretty much makes my point saying that it's the first time you really have a straight up martial artist in there. Not taking anything away from Ray Park, he was awesome. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so overall I think the directing was great. Gareth Edwards did a really good job.
I think he did. My only problem with the directing is that I think he spent too much time on characters we weren't gonna see going forward. It was too much. Look, Star Wars is based on giving us glimpses of characters that we need to go and do our own due diligence to find more about who these characters are. And this is the first time where they had like maybe a good 10 characters and only 4 maybe have been really essential to the plot of this movie.
True, but
and the other 6 really weren't. And then we had to find out about them like for real, and we can get on this in characters, but I think, and I'm going to stop there as far as what I feel about the characters. I'll talk about those in characters, but I think he spent way too much time on those characters trying to get us to invest a little bit into them, I guess, to make their death scenes later
exactly
on. But I don't, it didn't need to.
But if you really want to get the empathy from the audience, it's smart to give them some, a little bit more attention so you can, like you said, invest in them. So when they die, it kind of hits you and digs at you a little bit more.
I didn't need Saw Gerrera. I didn't need the friend to Donnie Yen's character. Was it Chirrut? Whatever. I didn't need his friend.
Baze.
I didn't need the.
That was cool. It kind of reminded me of freaking Bill Duke and Jesse Ventura and Predator.
I didn't need the TIE fighter pilot.
He was gonna be in the moonlight shaving. He's gonna bring it.
I didn't need the TIE fighter pilot. I needed Cassian Andor. I needed Jen Erso. I needed K2SO. I needed Galen Erso. And I needed Donnie Yen. That's it.
But
that's all I needed. You give me that.
And I mean, the whole thing was a group of rebels that are going to do this, blah, blah, blah. You're going to have those. And
I didn't cannon fodder.
But I didn't care. We'll get into that in a little while because I want to compare it to somebody. I want to compare it to another movie. But anyway, overall, the directing was awesome. Directing was awesome. Action sequences. This movie was flat out freaking Full Metal Jacket. It was an awesome freaking fight scene.
Nothing bad to say about
awesome freaking action sequences. They were awesome. Finally, the freaking stormtroopers hit somebody. That's amazing. Granted they did miss, but they finally got to kill somebody. And I think that's one of the things that I liked about it because it actually showed you how ruthless the Empire was and why they just didn't have death troopers because they hardly missed at all. Why not have the death troopers?
That was my whole point. I sat there and watched this movie. I was like, okay, so this is preceding our original trilogy. I was like, where are these tank troopers? Where are these death troopers? If they had these troopers in the rest of the trilogy, they'd have won.
Because these guys just didn't miss. They did not miss.
They would absolutely won. Jedi who?
Yeah. So
the Empire would have crushed them.
Yeah. So you know what? But other than that, they were in charge of another part of the friggin'. And how come they're not in the First Order?
Exactly.
But you give me a chrome one
because they're all dead. They're all dead now.
Anyway, no, they're still alive. They're gonna be in Episode 8. If we got freaking Palpatine's chingaderas,
we'll talk about that.
But anyway,
fan theory because there's a fan theory.
Regardless, regardless, the action sequences were very gritty. It was a flat-out war,
Right.
and I thought the action sequences were beautifully shot. The cinematography was great. The space battles were awesome. And you look at Force Awakens and how when Poe Dameron and the Resistance were there. That was a great scene.
Yes.
But the scene in Rogue One with the X-wings, I thought that was a little bit better. To be honest with you,
I wish we could have got more of that trailer scene with the different angle with the AT-ATs shooting at them on the beach. I wish we could have got more of that ground assault than we got. I mean, we got a good dose of it. And I was like, and we got space battles. It's like we got
Star Wars.
We actually got Star Wars because it wasn't episode 1 space battles where it's like overly CGI'd. It was like this is the first time I really, outside of the original trilogy, where they were like, even George Lucas says it was like, hey, you know what, we didn't have the technology to do like a faster paced space battle. Everything was this one, it was like all over the place, and it didn't feel like overly CGI'd. You felt like, man, this is just kind of intense. So I really like the space battles that they did with it. I just wish I got more of that ground assault.
Yeah, and you hear anything about it? Why didn't they kill the AT-ATs like that way in Empire? They went for the legs and tied rope around his legs to make him fall instead of cutting it right in half. Yeah. So, anyways, but overall, I thought the action sequences were awesome. No light duel, no lightsaber duels, but
there's
we'll
technically no Jedi.
Technically no Jedi. It was awesome, and the Vader scene at the end.
Okay, so we already told you it was spoilers. That was a part that I could have just watched that 1 2-minute scene. If it was even 2 minutes, I would have been like, okay, you can have every bit of money out my pocket because that's all I wanted to see.
Especially what he did to the guy that he had on the ceiling.
That's all I wanted to see.
Man, it would have made Jason Voorhees proud.
the reason why, okay, so they give us that particular scene, and it's basically to shut us all up. Because we all complained that in Revenge of the Sith, we never got to see him turn evil as Vader. We got to see him we got to see him transition to Vader. It was Anakin transitioning to Vader.
I don't think.
But we never got to see him
like Vader.
Yeah. We never ever once got that. It was just like the whole movie was a build up to him becoming Vader. We never got to see him as Vader. This movie kind of showed us how because episode 4 we got slow.
So do you think that episode? Do you think episode?
That's all we got. So we got to see like young. I'm gonna tear some crap apart.
But if you would have gotten.
If that in episode 3...
No, episode 1 would have been half Jake Lloyd, half Hayden Christensen.
No, if episode 1 had been episode 2...
Right, that's what I'm saying. So episode 1 is half Jake Lloyd, half Hayden, and then half of Attack of the Clones turns into the Sith, and then all of episode 3 is Kick-Ass Vader.
Can we call Rogue One? Can we call Rogue One episode 3? Can we just do that? Can we just do that? All right, because with the way it should have been is that the end of episode 1... The end of episode 1 tacked on to episode 2 is episode 1. That's episode 1.
And then cross-eyed.
And then episode 3 is now episode 2. And then Rogue One is now episode 3.
Anyway, so I love the action sequences. They were amazing. All right,
the action sequence was great. That was one of the biggest pluses to this movie.
Absolutely. Characters. Obviously, all of the Rogue One squadron were great. Headed, like I said, by Felicity Jones, who all did a great job. The characters themselves were awesome. I like Donnie Yen's character and I Am With the Force is with me. He was just amazing in that. Vader was good, except for that one damn line. Other than that, having Vader back was awesome. Now, here's the thing that I had a problem with. I think that it's commendable for Gareth Edwards to add Peter Cushing in the movie.
I had no problems with that.
I had no problem with him adding Peter Cushing in the movie. What I had a problem with was it looked flat out like the BFG. It had looked flat out, kind of like a little better than Tron Legacy or whatever the hell it's called. It just looked too cartoony to me. I just could not. And I love Peter Cushing. But I just could not look past it. It was really hard to look past it.
Here's the thing that was brought to my attention, and even I saw this on the internet as well too, because there's other people that feel this way as well. Would you have rather had Vader have those parts?
Yeah, I would.
That's what a lot of people are saying, is that those, instead of CGI and Peter Cushing, because I understand why he did it, because Peter Cushing was running the Death Star.
Yeah,
you had to have him there. You had to make reference to him. He ran the Death Star.
He was at the end of episode 3. We just said
Vader didn't run the Death Star. Cushing ran it. Tarkin ran it. So you had to have him in there just for that point. The movie's about the Death Star. You had to have him in there for it.
That's why. And a lot of the effort. For
a lot of people say that because outside of being menacing and kind of reestablishing kind of like the villainy of Tarkin, you could have had it. There wasn't a like, hey, you know, we need to do this about the Death Star. It was more along like, hey, you need to get this back to make sure that the Death Star is not, you know, compromised in any particular way. They really could have done that with Vader. Tarkin, they could have had a scene where they did the CGI with Tarkin and say, hey, Vader, you need to make sure we aren't compromised. Get out there and oversee this.
But giving Peter Cushing a bigger part, you think that was would you have rather had it be?
I don't have a problem with it. And we've looked at a lot of bad CGI in the Star Wars universe. So this was the best of bad CGI that we've seen in Star Wars universes. So I can't fault them for, you know, doing what they did things that hadn't been done in movies this far. Look, they are breaking ground on stuff. As much as we've seen the Robert Downey Jr. thing,
that looked good,
because it was only for a minute.
But that looked a lot better. That looked a lot better
with Tarkin, because you had to have.
I'll even go back to X-Men and Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen in Part 3.
So here's the difference.
Even that was better.
Here's the difference with it. Those were the real people. You had somebody playing Tarkin. They can say like, I can de-age you. We had to completely CGI your face. Okay, you don't look like Tarkin.
Okay, fair enough.
So it was more difficult.
What about Brandon Lee and the Crow? When they digitized the face on the actor.
That crap, you're gonna get.
I'm gonna give you that one. Anyway, all right.
That was crap.
Okay.
And then most of the scenes that he wasn't in, they did this whole thing. He was running in the shadows and stuff, like it ducking in stuff, hiding in the back seat.
I liked Leia's CGI better.
I loved her CGI. You know why? Because they had Carrie Fisher. They could de-age Carrie Fisher. And what's funny, they actually got another girl and they put Carrie Fisher's face on another girl.
You shut your mouth when you talk.
But they had Carrie Fisher there for reference. They could say, okay, we can see, your eyes are this way, your mouth's this way, stuff like that. All they had was old footage, old standard def footage, not even high def footage of Peter Cushing.
Okay.
That's it.
Well,
they did a good job.
Good.
I think it may have been better if they had used Vader.
It was good to see Peter Cushing back on the big screen.
But you would have had to pay James Earl Jones a load of money.
It would have. Well, he didn't play Vader. Like, he just did the. Oh, you're talking about to voice?
To do the dialogue.
More choking. All right. It was really, like I said, the thought to have Peter Cushing back in on the big screen, who, if you really take a step back, a man who was hit his peak in cinematic history in the 50s and 60s, has the #1 movie in the world right now. He's not even here.
And his family greenlit the whole thing with them using his likeness and stuff like that. So look,
it was amazing. It was a great honor.
George Lucas,
homage.
Clean us up. But
I just wish they would have just done it a little bit better. But it's like minor. It's very minor.
It's very minor. The only thing I would have thought better is if they had just given those scenes to Vader. They just gave him the one scene we got to see with Vader besides the end scene. That one crap scene that we saw for Vader, if they'd given that to Tarkin and then gave Vader all the Tarkin scenes, I think it would have worked out better. Kind of the same way as with Phasma, if they'd give Phasma that whole scene with Finn in the fight scene, and that would have made that. She
should have been the traitor stormtrooper.
She should have been TR8.
Whatever.
TR8R. She should have been the same way. Look, once again, George Lucas would have fixed this. He'd have done a special edition and he would have changed it.
Yes.
He would have switched Tarkin and Vader.
He would have re-released
Tarkin and Phasma. Everybody would have been switched and he got fixed and we'd have complained about it later. So,
yeah, pretty much. So, Krennic was great.
Okay, except the fact that I wish I had seen that one. Because another thing they cut out of the thing, the whole him walking over his Jesus moment when he was walking over the water and stuff like that with the cape flowing.
With the beak
that was
and the-
that was a
the beak.
badass
That was awesome
moment.
scene.
I was like, and we
It
didn't
just
see that
didn't
in
get
the
to
movie.
that. But and then him talking to Vader said that before, and then
He was. It was funny too because
clearly he was yelling at him too.
I was
Talking trash to
expecting.
him.
I was expecting
like all that tension, you know.
I was expecting a little bit more of his persona to be more like Tarkin, but I just really realized that like the rank was different.
Yeah,
because Tarkin was in control of everything.
But the one thing I didn't care for that, he was played by Ben Mendelsohn, I think his name was. Right?
Krennic, yes.
Yeah. The one thing I didn't like about Krennic, who he was a decent villain, the only thing I didn't like about him was he kind of seemed like, will you tell the Emperor about me? Can you tell the Emperor about
because
me?
he was a low.
I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to move up, but still,
Yeah.
he kind of
He was lower rank.
It took him.
I mean, number one was Tarkin. Number 2 was Vader, and then we had Krennic. Who was trying to get this Death Star thing, and it was kind of messed up too. And Tarkin was like, "I'm taking responsibility. I'm taking credit for all this." I was like, "Oh, that's kind of messed up." But they were really trying to push the fact how ruthless Tarkin was.
Yeah. Galen Erso.
Okay. Yeah.
That was a pretty it's integral to the story.
I
So
don't
it was
know.
very
I
important
don't
to have
know
him
if I
in there.
needed Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Did you need him?
I didn't need Mads Mikkelsen to play Galen Erso. I think he was just a plot device.
Right.
He was just a plot
Would
device.
you have preferred a how can I put this? You know how you have those high profile actors and then they die, like Bruce Willis in Armageddon, Kurt Russell in Poseidon.
Jar Jar Gabor.
All right. Or would you or did you mind a character of an actor of his caliber to play this role, or would you rather have had a high profile actor to play this role?
Or
an unknown.
You know what? They could have done. What was the aunt and uncle from New Hope?
Beru and Aunt Ben, or I mean Aunt Ben, Uncle Ben, and Aunt Beru.
Woo! They could have done unknowns like that, and that's how much Galen really made a difference to me. And it could have been anybody. It didn't have to be Mads.
I think that it was, if they would have Russell Crowe'd it, I think it would have been alright.
But then I would have been like, why didn't they give Russell Crowe more to do?
Well, they didn't give him that much to do with Man of Steel anyway. Anyway, so hey, welcome to number one Star Wars show.
Well, hey, he had a whole action scene.
I'm kidding. All right. Anyway, so but overall, I thought Krennic was okay. The Galen Erso character, yeah, you're right. He was very plot device. Yes,
it was just a plot device.
But overall, the character was really important, so it was good.
Like I said, you could have tapered back his role in this whole thing. I think if they had just done his whole the beginning sequence, him being forced back onto the Death Star to finish it up. If that was the last time I saw him, that would have been fine.
The scene in the back to tank with Vader, I thought that was freaking.
I love how he
awesome.
back to tank. He's on it because before he was the back to tank.
Yeah, I don't remember. That's some good shit. I love that scene, actually. I thought the scene was great. I think that, how Palpatine put this guy to watch over Vader and to serve Vader. Kind of like
with that. There's a fan theory with that. We'll talk about
that. Because you have the Emperor's guards guarding Vader. He's healing. He's meditating, and the fact that his castle, which I would have never thought, but if you check out the Stupendous Wave, amazing guy. He's freaking says some great stuff. But he talks about how he's at the castle to remember his humanity and where the man that he once was there, which doesn't make any sense because he was already Vader when he died on Mustafar. But his castle being on that volcanic planet, and he decided to live there of all freaking places. Is that crazy?
I mean, where else was he gonna go? He was gonna go to Tatooine.
Yeah, why not? Or go to Hoth.
He hates sand.
Hey, why did they call it Hoth? They should have been cold.
He hates sand. Remember, he can't go back to Tatooine.
Oh yeah.
And so I hate sand. It gets in everywhere. So this is the
and
fact
don't
that
choke on your forget it.
I love the fact that he was there on Mustafar because Obi-Wan chopped him down there. That's where his turn.
Is he looking at his legs?
Can he still find him somewhere? His turn to Vader was there. It was like that is now where he had been born at. Right. He was born there. So why not live there?
I mean, that place itself
and the
was
fact
a character.
and
It looked awesome.
exactly. So the fact that they didn't even have to explain it. They didn't even have to do the credit to say, this is where he's at.
They did.
We just all knew.
We just went there.
Yeah, we just went there and we all knew what that was. So the simple fact is, like, like I said, this is 3.5 because he's still healing. He's still in the back of the tank, so he still has things going on. He has to. I can't leave here because I'm still trying to get my body to a point to where I can really be effective and get out there and do things. So that was awesome. I really like that. I wished I had been part of 3.
Well, either way, overall the characters were great. So I have no complaints.
No
Like I said,
gripes.
even the cushion.
Like I said, all I think was like they should minus some of them out.
And I'm kind of glad that they did not put Ehrenreich in there as Han Solo. I'm glad they did not do that. I'm glad they didn't, put it. They kind of gave you some nods. They gave you the guy that from the Mos Eisley bar with the screwed up face.
The only thing they could have done was a cameo. They could have been like, "Oh, we're in a Han Solo's walking by" or something like that.
Right.
The same way that they would.
When they were in that little area, I thought that and all those people were there. It looked like they were in like trade shops or whatever.
I was waiting for a Greedo cameo. I was waiting for a lot of things.
But
we did get like the Twi'lek chick on the hologram.
Yeah, you got that one. Yeah, and like I said, you got the guy with the beat up, the all jacked up face.
I'm wanted in 31.
Yeah, exactly. So why not just? Oh, it's really under they get the body hunter.
It's like anyway, I should just arrest you.
So overall, characters are great.
Yeah.
Now, the movie itself, as a whole, what do you feel?
I feel that I felt differently in 2 parts of this movie. I think I felt a little disappointed in the beginning, and I felt really, really happy from the middle to the end. Because I think if they had shortened it, because the movie was over 2 hours, I think if they'd have shortened maybe a good 15-20 minutes off that beginning with those characters, like I said, if they minus 3 or 4 different characters off that beginning and just jumped in and kept us going to the middle to the end, I would have been more happy with this movie.
I thought that it was great. It was a great effort. It was awesome that it was a standalone. It reminded me a hell of a lot of Aliens as far as from the Colonial Marine standpoint. It reminded me of that. And my question, my thoughts of it was because you were talking about they didn't have to spend so much time to for you to invest in these characters. James Cameron did the same thing with Aliens, and when you got to see that team die, it sucked. So Gareth Edwards, I think, could have taken a page off that Aliens.
True.
So that's why I like.
Okay, wait.
It reminded me a lot.
Let's talk about that point. Let's talk about that point because so our main thing was Ripley, and then and then we had Colonial Marines that were there. The Colonial Marines were there, gone, and I still think they were cannon fodder at the time. They had personality, but they were cannon fodder. We didn't need to know anything about them. Like I said, I argue, did we really need to know about Saw Gerrera?
Okay, now as far
did we need to know about
wait a minute. As
it
far
was
as,
a cool nod to Clone Wars. We didn't know about Saw Gerrera.
But as far as backstory,
we didn't need to know about the TIE fighter pilot.
You don't really have to have backstory.
The whole alien that was like, oh, you gonna suck out your brain and we're gonna go insane. Did we really need that scene? Did we really need to know? It was like, all it could have been, it was like, hey, I'm trying to, we got the information about this.
Did you need the raid scene on Force Awakens? The raid?
No, I didn't.
Okay. All right. Never mind.
I didn't. No, we didn't need that at all.
What's your argument, though?
My argument is that the beginning needed to be shortened, and I think a build-up on just Jyn Erso, meeting Cassian Andor, going into the war.
Okay, stop.
Getting a dip.
What? Cough.
So, but you're saying that you're gonna take out all the exposition.
No, I'm not taking out exposition. I want her exposition. I want Cassian Andor's exposition, and I don't want all that other stuff. Like, Saw Gerrera died.
Yeah.
He died pointless. No, he died pointless, though.
No, he didn't die pointless because he was
did I need him to save her?
He was a big part of her life. She wouldn't even be there if it wasn't for him.
What if she hid, and then we say that she's an adult? She worked. She figured out how to survive. Aliens. She figured out how to survive.
She was asleep when he.
Yeah, no. She was like. They only come out at night. Mostly. Mostly.
So great. So freaking Felicity Jones is now Newt. Good
Yes,
job.
they knew it.
They knew it.
It's like, oh, she.
Well, you know what you're doing to the
She survived. She survived. She becomes a criminal to survive.
You're neutering it. Is what
Yeah,
you're doing.
I don't need Saw Gerrera for that. Like I said,
Why do you keep talking about Saw Gerrera? I'm talking about overall.
Look, you got your Hispanic person.
Well, you got what I need.
You got your Juan Guerra. You got Juan Solo. You got your Juan Solo.
But I'm saying that. What I'm saying is that you got Darth Vader. That's the blackest brother.
The blackest brother.
That's the blackest brother.
There was no black people. Oh wait, I guess Forrest Whitaker.
Exactly.
I was blacker than Forrest.
Because I'm black, y'all. All right. But what I'm saying is that much like in Aliens, you didn't necessarily have a backstory to all those characters, but when you emphasize their personalities in the story, it makes you a little bit more sympathetic to their death. And I think that's what Gareth Edwards did. He didn't necessarily give a hardcore backstory on any of them. He just gave
I know
you
he
their
didn't give like
personalities.
a full, but like it was so
it was
much
he gave you enough to invest to when they die.
Okay, maybe my
audience
issue is
walk
Forrest
out.
Whitaker's character. Maybe I don't think we needed that because I liked
of the haircut?
I liked him bald, and then all of a sudden he's got this freaking Sam Jackson unbreakable fro.
Well, he's like Mr. Glass.
He has a Mr. Glass fro, and I'm like, wait, that wasn't in the trailer. What is that?
Hey, but you know what? There's a lot of shit that wasn't in the trailer. But there's a lot of stuff in the trailer.
So that's my overall feelings. I think that maybe they should have minus some of the characters out, and I think they should have shortened up that beginning that they had done.
I thought he handled it okay.
I think that I think that should have focuses more just on Jen Erso and her relationship with Cassian Andor, and how about to say because really made it a New Hope.
No, because you gotta have because you gotta have their team. You gotta have their team. It's the whole freaking.
They didn't actually.
The whole part of the whole thing is the team and the team that getting the plans, and that's what Gareth Edwards did.
Okay.
And so that, overall, that
my movie would have had 4 characters at the beginning. It would have been a New Hope.
Your movie would have bombed. All right. Anyway. My movie would have grossed.
All right, so your overall feelings is
my overall feeling was that it was a great standalone movie in the Star Wars canon that just gave you a different side and a Star Wars.
And a Star Wars. I agree with that. We got a Star Wars. We got wars in the stars and wars on the ground.
It's Colonial Marines. It's Full Metal Jacket. I thought it was awesome. All
right.
So my question for you is. Was it a better offering from Lucasfilms than Force Awakens? Given now, not taking the story arc, the operatic.
It's a better second half than the Force Awakens.
You thought the Force Awakens first half was better?
I think the Force Awakens first because they jumped right into it. But
that's because in that story arc, the characters are already established, so it's pretty easy.
Story arc,
it's not established.
I mean, the characters aren't established, but we know what their point is.
Okay.
We know what their point is. This is
think,
episode 3.5.
So you
this
think,
is episode 3.5. We know what their point is.
So you think sitting there popcorn flick, both of them.
Okay.
You prefer Rogue One over the Force Awakens?
Second half of Rogue One.
Nope. You got as a whole, popcorn flick. What are you paying to see?
Yes, because you know why? Because I think the ending, I'm legitimately, the second half of this movie was better than the second half of Force Awakens. But the first half of Force Awakens was way better than the first half of this movie.
I think as a movie, as a movie, Rogue One is better than Force Awakens.
Okay.
What tops
as a Star Wars movie? It was the Rogue One.
No. But I'm saying as a Star Wars movie.
As a Star Wars movie based on what we already have. Yeah.
As a kid, it's Force Awakens because the nostalgia itself just conquers everything. Because when you see freaking Han Solo walk through the Millennium Falcon and say, "I'm home," and the face that Harrison Ford makes when he's in the cockpit. You feel it with him because we grew up on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Jedi in '83 when I was 12 years old. So, to see that, man, that was like a bright spot for me. And when Han Solo died, I walked out of the theater, and Ashley can tell you, I walked out of the theater sad. Like it was like somebody really died.
I know it was coming though.
Like somebody really died. I was that bothered inside. I was emotional inside. So for it to touch me from a nostalgia standpoint, Force Awakens was better. As a standalone movie, just flat out as a movie, Gareth Edwards did an amazing job. He did better than J.J. Abrams a little bit, in my opinion. And
so you know,
go see for freaking Rogue One.
what's funny is like they were talking about some of the Easter eggs and stuff like that, and they were talking about in Saul Geddes in the room. Yeah, we're still talking about it. In the room, they said in the backdrops and stuff like that, there's little cave paintings and stuff like that, and one of them they actually drew Godzilla on the background. He said he showed up the set and he saw it. He was like, "What? What?" And
Well, that's really what's in the Sarlacc pit.
yeah, and he was like, it was already there, so I really couldn't do anything. So he was like, if you look real closely, it was like you can see Godzilla.
And that's the most screen time Godzilla got in a Gareth Edwards movie.
That's awesome.
Okay. Fan theories. Now, normally I do the fan theories, but you have actually been.
Okay, so there's one, and this is.
I want to know about
early fan theory.
But I want to know the one that you're talking about with the back to tank of the guy that's taking care of Vader.
Hey, come on, you should be on this one because
I'm not. I just saw the movie today.
Okay, so everybody's saying that the guy who comes out, because they really don't give him any type of, and I guess if we look at the credits, because I really didn't stick around for the credits and stuff like that, because it was like over 2 hours, and I was already exhausted by the time I had already, blew my nerdgasm.
We get
it. We get it on the Vader scene, but the character that goes to the back of the tank to
tell Vader that Krennic's there.
Exactly. People are coming out saying that that's Snoke. Do you think that's Snoke?
Wow, that's an awesome theory.
Because Snoke has supposed to have been around to watch the rise and fall
of the Empire. Yeah, so, that's an amazing theory. I love that theory. Who's he with? He's with Vader. Around Palpatine, around the guards.
Exactly.
That makes the most sense. I love it. I think it's awesome.
With them trying to tie things together in the cinematic universe.
That's Snoke. that's Mace Windu.
I don't have to convince you on this one. So with everybody trying to, with Lucas, or not Lucas, but with Disney trying to, or Lucasfilms trying to tie everything together in the cinematic universe, when they're teasing us with who is Snoke, why wouldn't they throw that into a standalone film and say, hey, we already showed you who Snoke was, but not tell us who Snoke is? And it's like, it make us think about it and get out there and give more attention to this movie.
And you look at the character, and he has a lot
because they didn't really explain,
but he has a lot of the same facial features that
and they didn't really explain why it was him that went to go tell him. Why wasn't it like a stormtrooper? Why wasn't it an Imperial Guard?
Well, from what I heard from the Suspenders Wave, check him out, was that he was put there by Palpatine to watch over him. And to Vader can meditate. He can do, so maybe that is Snoke, and I'd be okay with that. I think that would be freaking awesome.
Okay.
And look, hey, who's he teaching? His grandson, right? So I think that would be an awesome idea.
So that was the fan theory that's currently floating now. So
yeah, so all the Jyn Erso is Rey's moms. Yeah, that's done out the door.
Oh, because she's dead.
Out the door. Yeah, because she's dead. Yeah. Unless it's a Ouija board or something.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
How did you feel about everybody dying in this movie and nobody making it out?
The one thing that I don't, for future installments, it kind of sucks because you can't.
Really, they weren't gonna symbolize it,
but it sucks. From that standpoint, it sucks because you'll never get to see.
I didn't think they had the balls to do it. I thought they were gonna be like, oh, you know what, Jyn Erso made it out.
I think that,
and then she went into hiding.
I really thought Jyn Erso was gonna be bad because from the trailer when she turns around,
the trailer was getting your butt in the seat, and it was like,
I really thought she was gonna be bad.
They had her in the TIE fighter outfit.
And I'm gonna go to the side here. Okay, now you can see the poster here. Half of this is the Death Star, and it's only on her. So I really thought,
because they're trying to talk about her relation to the
Death Star, and Aspen, our director, actually made a really good point, and that's because her father designed it. So that's why the Death Star is actually part of her face. But in my theory, before the movie opened, I thought that it was because she's part of the Empire, or she's going to become part of the Empire, tying to Phasma or tying to somebody, or Palpatine hits it.
She ties to nobody because
Palpatine hits it. Hey, and that's how they got.
How did you Rey? Another thing that I thought about. How did you feel about the fact that when they shot planets, they took forever to blow up, and in Episode 4, when they shot a planet, it was like.
Well, because the planet, the Death Star was already in full freaking, it was full force. It was not completely full force yet.
Okay, so it was like 30 minutes of screen time in Episode 4.
I guess so.
When it was like, we need a substantial target. It's like we're just gonna blow up Alderaan, right?
Yeah.
So that didn't happen too much farther. I was okay, so
they were still working on it.
In movie time, what does it happen? Like a week later. maybe a month.
A lot can happen in a week.
A month later,
A lot can happen in a
we got
week.
some extra kyber crystals in here.
Exactly.
Tarkin. You know, now we're at full power now.
Exactly.
Now we can blow it up like that.
Jyn Erso and you know, what's his name?
Cassian Andor.
Yeah. Why did they have to go out like freaking Deep Impact? It's like I was watching Tia Leone.
You know, another thing that I was exactly right. So another thing that I was like, how did you feel that they didn't make them? You know, they didn't make them a couple.
I thought it was
It's
great.
unnecessary.
That to make them a couple,
Yes,
or
it's unnecessary.
oh, even though that people are trying to ship, you know, Finn and Poe.
That's gonna happen.
No, actually, because they're actually saying that Jyn Erso was Han's first girlfriend,
What?
which is why
Fan theory for your ass right there.
which is why Felicity Jones will probably come out in the Han Solo spinoff.
Don't do that. Don't do
Because
that. Don't do that.
the events of Rogue One is 10 years before. I mean, the events of Rogue One is 10 years before for Han Solo spinoff.
So they would.
So
Didn't
it's-
they have to put Forrest Whitaker back in it because at that time she is still with Forrest. She's still with Saul Goodman.
But then she like. It was like
there-
10 years. Wouldn't she be like,
Like 12.
Han, you pedophile?
I know, right?
I don't think
but
that's true.
I know you like them young when you got Leia and she was what
19
17
and you were 33. You
I know
bastard.
you like them young, but hey, calm down.
Yeah.
Maybe
another
the
thing-
rules are different in
in the galaxy far, far away. That's awful. Another thing is that that they're potentially putting her in because Felicity Jones has a multi-picture deal with her character
a
dying.
multi-picture deal, and she died.
Exactly. with her character dying, you know, if there's a potential prequel for Luke, a Luke prequel
As a kid,
I don't know. He's only 19 in A New Hope. So if it takes place a year or two and he's 17, I don't know. I don't know how this would work, to be honest with you. He
They would
has
have
no
him as
idea
a
what a
kid.
lightsaber is.
Yeah.
He has no idea what the Force is. He has no idea
that
what
would
that
totally-
is. So
that
what
would
the hell do you need a Luke?
they can't cross him at all because it would totally screw up their time.
He's getting blue milk. That's the whole movie.
Hey,
He's
look,
getting
they did the blue milk in the movie. I thought that was cool. They did the blue milk. They did the, like I said, they did all the cameos. The C-3PO cameo was unneeded. I don't know why they did that. And we had K2SO.
Or Godzilla on the wall.
And Godzilla on the wall was awesome. I'm going to look for it again because I just heard about it. And, I mean, all the cameos they did.
Man, whoever, you guys out there, whoever really noticed that, y'all are freaking amazing.
We're talking, he came on and said it.
But that
Gareth
was-
Edwards came on and said it.
Oh,
I showed
okay.
up to set.
Because I was about
and
to
they
say,
drew Godzilla on the
Okay.
cave paintings in the back of Saul Guerrero's room. And he was like, okay.
All right. Anyway, so one last thing.
All right.
And this was pretty fun that I saw this, and you can actually go back and make up your own choice, make up your own decision how you do it. How would you watch a Star Wars marathon? Oof. Would you go chronologically, or would you go, in time of release?
Am I watching it or am I showing it to somebody?
Never seen Star Wars in my life.
Never seen Star Wars in my life. I would show it to the way that I showed my kids, but
Which was?
I showed them in order. I showed them in.
One, two, three?
1, 2, 3,
Oh,
4, 5, 6,
7?
Yeah, I showed them that way because I didn't want to have to sit there and explain to them why this tied into this. I showed them, okay, we're introduced to these characters, and then okay, boom, this is fast forward into the future. Now we have these characters, and then I let them get surprised with the simple fact, because they still got surprised. And it was like, okay, here's Darth Vader at the end of 3, and he has these twins. When we got to 4, they didn't make the connection that those twins were Luke and Leia. We knew it because we went into it knowing that Luke and Leia were siblings, but my kids didn't make that correlation. It wasn't until they actually said, hey, you have a twin sister, and they said it's Leia, and they were like, oh, really? So I think I would show them that way, but I would just not show them the beginning of 1. I would show them the Darth Maul fight scene. I would start there. I would start at the Darth Maul fight scene.
You don't want to talk about the politics?
I would start with the Darth Maul fight scene, and then I would show them 2, and I would show them 3,
man.
and now I would show them 3.5, and then I would show
I would go Sith, Rogue One, then 4, and the rest. I mean,
I would do the end of 1, 2, 3, 3.5, 4, 5, 6, and then 7.
Yeah, I saw Rogue One today, and I really want to see New Hope. And I've seen New Hope so many freaking times, but because Rogue One's so fresh in my mind, I really want to see.
You know what's funny too is that
on the big screen.
when they ended this movie, I waited. I just knew that they were going to give me the very open scene to A New Hope.
No, I'm kind of glad they didn't.
I just knew that they were gonna give it up.
But they didn't.
I was like, oh my god, they were gonna give me the open.
But they
and then
didn't.
It completely meshes them together.
But it didn't.
But they didn't. I was
You know?
really disappointed about that. And I was like, I wanted the complete
Companion piece. Like
I
would
wanted
say.
the complete open. I wanted to watch him walking in.
Well, hey, you know what? Movies like that is freaking The Thing. The Thing and
the thing, and it gives you the very
perfect.
beginning.
I'm
yeah.
like right the
It's like
the
the
ending
dog
is
and the
right.
shooting and stuff, yeah.
It's freaking awesome. Anyway, but overall the movie was great, and I apologize. This review, this whole thing was very long.
It's very long.
But I saw it today. Like I said, he saw it on opening day actually,
Yeah.
and we tried to do interviews. But there was some, it didn't work out. But overall, just from a movie theater experience standpoint, everybody loved it. There were a few that were kind of here and there, but you can just tell that they ain't a child from the 80s, so they couldn't really appreciate that. So, I'm not even paying attention to them. But those that were a child of the 80s, they loved it. Everybody was, applauding, and the atmosphere was great. So, yeah, and it's going to keep on. It's smart that Disney is doing this now in December because, you get the Christmas holidays.
They own December now.
They own December. They're the Will Smith of the 90s. They own December.
Minus Collateral Beauty.
Minus Collateral Beauty. Oh, horrible movie. But, when Will Smith owned 4th of July.
He did.
He owned 4th of July. He had
owned
Independence
the
Day.
summer.
Yeah, Independence Day, Men in Black, and then he had Wild West and
owned
Bond.
the
But anyway,
summer.
But overall, they did great. Gareth Edwards did an amazing job, and hopefully he does get to dip in a little bit more as far as Star Wars is concerned. Right. So, do you have anything else?
That's it.
That's it. We tap out.
Yeah.
For Aspen in the back, I'm Manny.
I'm Terrence.
May the Force be with you. Go see Rogue One.
Please. China.
Okay.
And I've been waiting for this all day. Hit me. Let's go.
3, 2, 1, action.
No, that's you. This is your show.
You say that every time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
I got it. I'm sorry. Go.
How many episodes have we had?